Boom or bust? Now that's the question. We've all heard the concern about the overpopulation of the planet, especially since the 1960s, after a biologist named Paul Ehrlich claimed that humanity were reaching apocalyptic levels of overpopulation. He suggested that hundreds of millions of people were going to starve to death due to food shortages, India was apparently doomed, and England would not exist by the year 2000. It supposedly was going to be the end of the world as we knew it. But 60 years later, we're still here. None of that obviously eventuated, and we went from 3 billion people back then to over 8 billion people today. Even with this massive population increase over the past 60 years, we've started seeing countries experience their lowest fertility and birth rates on record. That could potentially now lead to an underpopulation bomb in the future. On one hand, we have projections made by the UN estimating we're going to have 9.7 billion people by the year 2050. And on the other hand, we've got other experts saying that the population will begin to fall by this time. So which one is it? Now, there's a variety of reasons why we have such low fertility and birth rates around the globe today, such as having better contraceptive measures these days, more people are working and focusing on their careers, the economical reasons such as the cost of raising a child, the more technologically advanced a society becomes, the less children they have, also factors like poor lifestyle choices, and also things that we're exposed to these days that are toxic to the human body. Last year, we've seen countries like Japan have their biggest drop in population on record by a whopping 630,000 people, along with Australia and the US hitting their lowest birth rates on record, and with places like Korea, Singapore, and throughout Europe in the same boat. Even China, known as one of the world's biggest populous nations, are predicted to hit a record low with their fertility since the Great Famine. So what does this all even mean? It means that the global population is aging, and the peak youth on the planet was like 50 years ago. We've got way more oldies on the planet than youngsters these days due to longer lifespans, which is obviously great, you know, hooray for medical advancement, but the elderly dependency ratio is increasing so much that we won't have the resources, the money, or the workforce in place to support this growing aging population, because this has never happened before. And there's obviously going to be a drop in population when these people are ripe for the picking, and with each generation now producing fewer offspring, we won't have the people to keep up with the falling numbers. So is it possible that the lifetime you and I are living right now could be the period, in the grand scheme of things, the most people to ever exist at one time? Maybe.